going, everybody? Chaos Gaming here, and we are back with the My Hero Academia review series. And in today's video, we're going to be focusing on the final season. I'm sorry I couldn't really do the other season like that. The reason being, as you guys know, my phone was messed up, and at that point, I just feel like it was too late for me to even do it once the final season already came out. So I was just like, screw it at that point. Another thing that I do want to explain before we do start today's video as to why we're uploading and recording it today, more so than doing it last week when quote-unquote was said My Hero was ended, because on Google, if you searched on My Hero Academia Season 8, people found out that there was supposed to be another episode, quote-unquote, that was coming out on Saturday today. However, we now know that that episode is coming out in May instead, which is going to be covering the chapter that Horoshiki made after the manga was done. But, you know, at the end of the day, I just feel like that's just kind of towards the manga. It's just like, I'm just going to say it's a continuation of it at that point. But you guys already know. With that being said, let's not waste any more time. Let's blow this shit right the hell up. And if you want to join me in this review session, what you can do in the comments is write episode 1 and just give a rating. If you want to give a little bit of an explanation as well, you can do that as well. So, episode 1 of the final season, which is Toshinori Yagi Rising / Origin. This came out on October 4th. Crazy how now we're in December after this. It feels like just a couple of days ago we were just watching this. All Might continues his hard-hitting battle against the rewinding All For One, pushing his armored suit to its limit. All For One mocks the former hero's weak state, needing to rely on a suit that replicates his student's quirks, but All Might remains confident, continuing to make the villain overuse his quirks to rapidly increase the rewind effect, while having faith others will pick up after him. He manages to lure All For One away and unleashes a giant laser barrage onto him. Meanwhile, back at the Troy battlefield, the villain Kurenai, I'm hoping I'm saying that right. I'm not trying to say it with the R, but that's how it's making me say it. I don't know why. My mouth just going the way it does. Has incapacitated almost all the heroes in the area, leaving only Ayuma left after he derides the traitor. Ayuma declares his intention to keep following in the light of his classmates and starts flashing his leaking naval laser, allowing the invisible Toru Hagakure to use the light to knock the villain out. As a result of Ayuma's power, Invisible Girl, invisibility starts to glitch and she becomes visible. As the two begin rescuing the heroes, All Might uses his remaining tools to keep All For One contained as long as possible until the laser overheats, with the child-sized glowing All For One emerging from the crater. Before he can fight back, his body suddenly freezes in place as Stain appears to aid All Might in the fight. Which, that was crazy, man. Stain coming out of nowhere like that. I thought Stain wasn't going to do anything at all, but man said, nah, bro. My All Might is back. I gotta pull up and show my guys what I'm about, why I respect them like that. And that's one thing that's so good about Horoshiki, man. If you guys don't know, that's the author's name, the one that created My Hero Academia. Is that the fact that he's able to use every single character in this series for coming back in this final season and try to make it to where they have an impact on the show in some type of way. I love that, man. That's so sick. And also just overall with this episode, just All Might fighting with this suit is just sick, man. Because even in his human form, he's just showing like, yo, All For One, I'm not letting you slide no matter what, man. I don't care what I gotta do. I'm killing you, or I'm making sure that you kill yourself in the game. Let me just say it like that because YouTube and Twitch, they hate that. Episode 2, the end of an era and the beginning. Stain and All Might charge at the paralyzed All For One. However, the villain uses several of his quirks to break free. Annoyed at his refusal to submit to him, All For One proceeds to kill Stain and steal his quirk. Stain uses his last words to tell All Might to live on and succeed. The last remnant of the armored All Might also sacrifices himself to save him from a deadly attack. He sees hallucinations of Shimura and Sir Night-Eye, pushing him to keep fighting. Now in range of UA, Deku and Tomoda Shigaraki's battle, All For One attempts to warp Shigaraki to him, but the villain forcibly rejects his former master's interference, which was crazy because I remember that Shigaraki just bites that thing. Oh, get the hell up out of here, bro. What you talking about, man? I am not going with you at all. I'm doing my own thing, and that's it. And that's one thing I really like, that Shigaraki is in control now. It's not All For One and Shigaraki no more. I wasn't really a big fan of that, but now it's just Shigaraki by himself. Let's go. That's what I want to see. Instead, All For One drags All Might towards UA, intending to kill him in front of everyone. With Deku unable to help, or else break the stalemate he was with Shigaraki, All Might prepares to activate a failsafe on the remaining piece of his suit to blow them up, thinking about the memories of his youth in the process. However, All For One destroys it and paralyzes All Might, gloating about his failure to defeat him, which is crazy. You already know All For One biggest rage baiter in this series. I feel like he was the one that invented rage baiting in the first place. With Gentle and America Jets unable to stop him, people around the world watch on in horror as All For One begins to tear All Might's body in two. As Deku begs for anyone to save him, an explosion erupts from UA, from which a revived Katsuki Bakugo emerges and glances down at an astonished Deku. That part was so sick. I remember yelling in hype how sick that was. Oh my god, man. And then the next episode that comes right after the final boss, Bakugo blasts himself towards Deku, who proceeds to use Gear Shift and launch him at All Might. That animation was clean. That was like some movie animation right there, man. That's what people wanted to see, the movie animation. By the way, this came out on October 18th. Crazy, 2 months ago that this came out. Despite All Might's seemingly inevitable death, fueled by the hopes and prayers of everyone begging him to be saved, Bakugo shoots forward at insane speed, ripping the former symbol of peace out of All For One's hands, saving his life and rewriting Sir Night-Eye's vision. While recovering, a thread-sized edge shot emerges from Bakugo's body, having used his quirk to repair his body from the inside, revealing it was his own explosive sweat that resuscitated him back to life. Okay, I'm not gonna lie though, that is pretty bullshit, but you know what? It's whatever. As long as my goat is still alive, that's what matters to me. All Might gives Bakugo the last remnant of his armor, named after him, which he accepts with a smile, which, oh my god, just the whole character development with Bakugo is just amazing. Oh, from start to finish. How we see this character change into a better person is just so good, man. A furious All For One attempts to refocus his mind on Shigaraki, only for Bakugo to appear before him, declaring himself the final boss. While most of the battlefields are wrapping up with the heroes dealing with the cleanup of the villains, Shigaraki breaks free of Deku's restraints as the two intend to end things now. All For One tries to ignore Bakugo and continue towards All For One, seeing the young hero as just another pebble in his path. But thanks to understanding how this explosion quirk works, Bakugo is able to keep up with the villain. Increasingly infuriated, All For One keeps seeing flashes of the second user in Bakugo, the one he truly hates the most, accidentally calling him Kudo in outrage, which is crazy because we all know at the end of this episode he's like, what the hell are you talking about, man? That's not my name. My name is Kacchan Bakugo. It's the only person that ever call him Kacchan. You already know, Midoriya, man. So I hit even more. I was like, damn, he's actually accepting that name now? That's crazy. And then we go to episode 4, which is Quirk Explosion. It's just like, it's simple titles, but it's just like, it just sounds so good, man. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just glazed with the simple titles. With what we're dealing with the character here, it just sounds so good. In a flashback, twin brothers are born to a prostitute in an era before quirks were known. Did they say she was a prostitute? I don't remember that. I remember she was being a drunk. That's crazy. Washed away in the river together on their mother's corpse. Within the next couple of years, the Lumicent baby is born and meta abilities become recognized, inciting fear and confusion among the general public. The older brother uses his meta ability to steal and kill from others in order to survive, while pushing around the younger brother who begged him not to hurt others. One day, the older brother sees the younger brother reading the Captain Hero comic book, hoping to be a hero like him. However, the older brother is inspired by the Demon Lord who ruled Enfield, so he kills the Lumicent baby and, as taken from the comic book, dubs himself All For One, which was crazy because I remember how like baby All For, well, you could say young All For One, he just kills a group of people just to kill them. That's it. Like he's just like, you know what, I'm just gonna kill you. Sometime later, the younger brother Yoichi is freed from his grasp by a resistance led by Kudo, which is crazy because All For One named him Yoichi. It wasn't his mom because the mom was already like down there when they were babies. And what's also crazy as well is that what All For One did it as a baby, which is just like eating the mother's flesh. That was insane. So where were we at? Yoichi is freed from the grasp by a resistance led by Kudo. So All For One kills Yoichi, reclaiming just his hand. However, he realizes that Yoichi's essence no longer exists in that hand, while Kudo's partner Bruce discovers a second factor within his body. After being sprayed with his blood, Yoichi's quirk factor is now in Kudo. Over the decades, All For One began his quest to reclaim Yoichi, now as the quirk One For All, as it is transferred from user to user, always evading him, until his defeat at All Might hands barely surviving thanks to Dr. Garaki reclaiming his body in the present. An unhinged All For One decides to release all of his quirks at once in a monstrous blob in order to kill Bakugo and reach Shigaraki at once. Despite the danger, Bakugo confidently blasts forward, throwing the villain off balance by activating several beads of explosive sweat he planted inside him, will become further disrupted by the quirk factors within his body, rebelling once again, which as we saw, Hawks was there and everybody else, and then all the quirks were releasing, which everybody thought, hey, you know what, we might get our quirks back, and then Hawks was like, yeah, it was only that simple. Bakugo finally defeats All For One with a massive explosion, who emerges from a crater as an infant, desperately trying to crawl forward. An exhausted Bakugo stands defiant until victory has been achieved. As All For One cries out until he disappears out of existence, Bakugo lies on the ground, fists in the air, telling Izuku to give him hell. But how about you say as well what Bakugo was trying to do as well, which is like, damn, I wish I could do the pose that All Might did. Oh man, that was such a good part too. But now we got episode 5, History Greatest Villain. As the hero and villain continue their devastating struggle, Shigaraki gets close enough to graze Deku, managing to break through the Vegestus realm, stealing Higake and Danger Sense. Which they could have just said Danger Sense, because I promise you, like 99% of people are not going to remember who the name of the person who had Danger Sense was, revealing he has the superior willpower to steal one for all. Now able to easily dodge Deku's attacks, Shigaraki goes on the offensive, knocking them both all the way to Mount Fuji as Deku realizes Shigaraki's plan to start his plan for mass destruction by decaying the mountain, causing it to erupt. Even despite the one-for-all user's fear of the Ruin Incarnate villain, Deku stands his ground, believing that there is a person deep down with Shigaraki. Deku uses several combinations of quirks to attack Shigaraki and halts his decay, but the villain's Danger Sense, Surge, and Regeneration all prove too much for the hero to handle. Which is crazy, man, that adding Danger Sense just made it to where, like, Shigaraki is the strongest quirk user in history. Like, there's nobody that's matching him with that type of power. Healing, finding out your weaknesses, and dodging your attacks? Bro, I don't know if that mic picked it up, like me just hitting my headphone for a second there, I'm sorry, but that is basically Ultra Instinct in the flesh of this series. So all proved too much for the hero to handle. As he succumbed to Gear Shift blowback, the users and Shigaraki himself point out that Deku could try and kill Shigaraki at any point, but is still holding back, which is crazy. If he wanted to, before Danger Sense was stolen, Deku could have killed this guy for free. But he was like, nah, I gotta save him. I have to try to save him no matter what. And I mean, in the end, it's like, well, Shigaraki still died, but you know, it's just like, oh my god, man. Heroes always have to hold themselves back to try to make sure that they can save a person, which is insane. And that's why All For One said what he said, like, heroes sure have it rough, always trying to save somebody. Or it was Shigaraki, one of the two said that. While Shigaraki reveals he has consumed the crime boy in a leading madness in his heart with no way of reaching, Deku refuses to give in. However, as he wants to understand what made him this way, just then, the All Might Vegas senses the lingering spirit of Star and Stripe still within Shigaraki, revealing that she had left a scar in his leaden mask from their fight, and it could be broken. Kudo, having initially disapproved of Deku's ideals, realizing the only way to truly defeat Shigaraki is to forcibly transfer One For All into the villain's body, attacking his soul directly while preventing the quirks from being usable. Deku is worried about giving up All Might's gift, but he accepts, proceeding to use Black Whip to reinforce his entire body, allowing him to move once more. I don't think Midoriya was hesitant though. He was just like, let's go for it. That's it. Instantly he was like, let's go for it. If we can save Shigaraki, I'm down for it. Wrench it open, Izuku Midoriya. Using this new form, Deku goes on the offensive plan to get close enough to transfer Gear Shift into Shigaraki. Which is funny because Shigaraki was like, whoa, hold on. You don't look like a hero no more, buddy. And then after that, it was like Shigaraki was like saying, you know, any normal person wouldn't be able to keep up with this fight. Normal person. Then he starts scratching his neck. He's like, oh, well, this guy ain't normal for real. He is a different type of crazy. Meanwhile, the villain finds himself unnerved by Deku's relentlessly, and now he's continued to scheme despite his plan. After preventing another spread of decay, Deku uses Smokescreen and Black Whip with blood on it to trick Shigaraki and Surge, allowing him to get up close. Which, bro, That was so smart, man. Midoriya's IQ is truly special in this world. Like, even if he wasn't a hero with quirks, bro, put him in the police force, man. Like, you should have put him in the police force and be the captain of that. Because, bro, or CIA. Or he could have been the one leading the charge of heroes. Like, he knows how quirks work better than people that know how to use their quirks themselves. It is crazy. And it's kind of cool in a way that he had multiple quirks. Because that just leads to where, like, you know, he had multiple ways to manipulate his quirks in ways that people wouldn't even imagine about it in the first place. So, Shigaraki instinctively starts regrowing his defensive fingers to protect himself. But Deku manages to land a direct punch, transferring Kudo and Gear Shift into the villain's body, destroying the quirk and hitting the scar in the soul. As Deku and Shigaraki's memories begin to overlap due to One For All and All For One's assimilation, Deku goes for another transfer. However, only N and Smokescreen break through, with Shigaraki rejecting the rest. Meanwhile, a drone piloted by Mei records the battle, allowing it to be broadcast by La Brava. A worried Eri wants to help in some way and is comforted by Kota. Kota had aura here, man. Besides being an Ultra Rumble, that man had some aura. Alright, so Kota, as UA is being evacuated, Momo and Kaminari watch the battle on the phone. Worrying about him, Kaminari questions his confidence in Deku. Now I got a question for you guys if you're leaving your review for episode 6, right? How do you feel about Kaminari being like that? I don't know, man. Because I'm like, damn, Kaminari, you ain't no homeboy like that. Like, you gotta believe in Midoriya. But he did give the example, like, you know, with All Might, it's like, I know we're safe no matter what. But with Midoriya, it's kind of iffy. But I mean, like, where have you seen an instance where Midoriya lost like that? I mean, if you're talking about, like, season 6, I guess, but I don't know, man. Have more confidence in your boy. A news helicopter arrives in Gunga to take Ochako to the hospital. Rocklock and Lady Nagan also watch the fight as they talk about how Deku isn't trying to just punish evil, but make the villain lose the will to his path, which is what inspired Nagan. Deku finally breaks through Shigaraki's fingers, finding himself in front of Shimura's family home, with Nana as the only Vetress left. After seeing warnings and visions of Shigaraki's past adversaries, Deku finally breaks into the home, only for him and Nana to witness Tenko being slapped by his father, Koto. Now, my brother and my friend, we were talking about this when this episode came out, that I feel like, damn, Shimura, at that point, you should have just never did what you did, because look what happened, you made the situation worse. But my friends were saying that, oh, that, you know, it's the opposite, man. Like, he should have grown up to be that type of person in the first place. But I was just like, I don't know, man. But however, we know about what happens later, and then everything starts to pack in. And then it's just like everybody's wrong at that point. So episode 7, from Aizawa. Nana breaks down in tears over seeing Kotaro slap Tenko, realizing how much pain she has inherently caused her son over leaving him. But that's the thing. That's not it. That's not it at all. She and Izuku are able to break through and intervene. Nana apologizes and fading away as the leaden soul is finally destroyed, while Izuku witnesses the moment DK manifests within Tenko. Horrified, a now child Izuku steps in and grabs Tenko's hands, even as his own starts to break apart, which is crazy that his hands was breaking apart in the, what do they call that realm? The Vegetus realm? I don't know, I'm gonna just call it the Memories realm, whatever. In the Memories realm, that's what happens, that his actual hands in real life broke off. Tenko continues to try and reject him, saying it was his choice to destroy to validate his own existence. But Izuku insisted, telling him how much someone being there to reach out their hands to help means to him. Tenko finally gives in and lets go. However, turning back into Shigaraki, he declares that no matter what, if his hatred is stamped out, he's a villain meant to destroy, and desired to be a hero for the villains, which then suddenly, not even just that, let me stop there for a second, other people, regular citizens, started cheering Shigaraki, which is crazy. Suddenly, as Mysterious Flash I'm stupid. Suddenly, as mysterious memories flash for the boys, All For One's Vegetus reemerges and devours Shigaraki, regaining control. All For One then reveals to Shigaraki that he orchestrated his existence from manipulating Kotaro, which, that's what I'm talking about, man. He made it to where Kotaro started acting like that. Kotaro was fine, but then All For One pulled up and he was like, you know, buddy, I gotta do something from you. To stealing his quirks as a baby, to secretly giving him DK, an alternate copy of Overhaul. Shigaraki is broken down by the revelation, while Izuku is expelled from the Vegesis world. There we go, Vegesis. In the real world, All For One now in control of Shigaraki's body, laments Yoichi and One For All's destruction, declaring to proceed with Hollow World domination. Deku discovers both his arms are completely destroyed, and before the villain can attack, he is saved by Zero, Sato, and Ojiro, courtesy of Eraserhead. Shortly after, he and President Mike were warped away by Kurogiri. Oboro Shirakumo's personality re-emerged, allowing them to use Warp Gate freely again. He warps to the evacuation center, recruiting all the available heroes to clean up the remaining battles before joining up with Deku. He uses Aries' horn on Deku, which she had cut off, wanting to help him in any way so she could sing to them when the fighting is done, to rewind his arms back. Just then, many heroes and 1A students began appearing through the Warp Gates, and at that point, it wasn't just Midoriya's fight anymore, it was everyone's fight, which was sick, I'm not gonna lie. And at that point, I was like, damn, it would have been cool, like, if we had other heroes as well joining in this fight, but, you know, majority of them are, like, very injured or in the hospital. Then we got Episode 8, Izuku Midoriya's Rising. All the remaining heroes left standing, joining Deku for the final stand against All For One. The villain is annoyed at their presence and attempts to declare that tragedies are what result in true strength. But Seto interjects, believing people are better off without them. And that's true, man. People are better off for having this depressing feeling in them. Just as Shoto and Endeavor appeared to blast them, the heroes go on the assault, dealing with All For One's massive onslaught of quirk constructions. But unable to break through to the main body, while Eraserhead helps him recover, Deku reveals he gave up One For All. But like All Might still had the embers within him, Deku gets up and begins to run forward straight towards the villain. I think what would have been pretty cool is that 80 was able to rewind and have the quirks come back to him. That would have been sick. But maybe at that point it's just like, damn, too much bullshit, let's relax. I mean, if Midoriya still had that quirk though. But he was going to be the last one to have the quirk anyways. Let him rock with it, man. Come on, with a cheeky. But let's see. So gets up and begins to run forward, straight towards the villain. As he does so, the members of Class 1A and the other heroes leap in front and counter all For One's attacks, allowing Deku to keep going while telling him to do your best. The coolest one was definitely Invisible Girl with her grabbing the beam and she's like, I got you with this, man. Just go. I got you. That was sick. So let's see. While telling him to do your best, All For One soon realizes that Deku's strength is his weakness. Unlike All Might, he has determination that inspires everyone around him to keep pushing. Everyone watching the broadcast repeats the encouragement towards Deku, including his mother, as he finally reaches the villain and smashes him directly in the chest. As a result of the attacks and the damage of the transfer One For All within him, the body begins to shatter apart, while All For One desperately tries to keep himself together, intending to forcibly transfer his quirk to someone else. Deku goes in to attack again, but is stopped by Kurogiri, attempting to protect Shigaraki until Bakugo appears and dissipates him. Well, you could just say disappears him as well, but yo, when Bakugo pulled up all the way from the hospital to that battlefield, bro, that's a true warrior right there, man. Truest warrior. Surprised Bakugo isn't like top 3 hero, because we know at the end he's like what, 5, 6? I don't remember, but he is in the top 10, but I'm surprised he's like number 2 or 3, man. Like, come on. I understand who's number 1 for that reason, but the other ones, come on. So the body is set apart. Deku goes in to attack again. Bakugo appears and dissipates him. As Deku states his pity to the Demon Lord in the Vegesis realm, All For One is reunited with Yoichi's embers and begs his younger brother not to leave him. But Yoichi explains he needs to pay the price for his crimes. Just then, Shigaraki, alongside the One For All Vegesis, re-emerge, and together with Deku, they destroy All For One for good. Deku and Shigaraki have one last conversation in the Vegesis realm, the latter lamenting he couldn't destroy anything and admitting he really just was that crying kid. Deku says he wanted to stop his misery from spreading further. Shigaraki gives Deku his final words to say to Spinner that he kept fighting to destroy in the real world. Deku's massive final punch is so powerful that it clears the sky as Shigaraki's body decays away. Next, we got episode 9, Epilogue, the Hellish Todoroki Family Final. This was an emotional episode, I'm not gonna lie, just from everything that happens here with the Todoroki family. Also with Bakugo and Midoriya as well. Their interaction, emotional. In the aftermath of the war, restoration begins as any available heroes, particularly those from America and around the world, assist in the cause. At Central Hospital, a doctor informs Bakugo about the significant damage to his body and arm, but he insists on going through the long rehab process. Izuku and All Might recover together in the other room as Izuku laments on being unable to save Shigaraki's life. But when he remembers his genuine smile as he told him to do his best, All Might summarizes that Izuku did save his soul. Because All Might did say that if he was smiling in the end, then that's what truly matters. You saved him, which was so cool. And then when Midoriya was saying it to Uraka later on, that was so cool as well. I'm not gonna lie. So Bakugo then learns. When he remembers his so Bakugo then learns that Izuku nearly used up one for all and will practically be quirkless again. Izuku confirming he still feels remnants, embers of it within him, causing him to break out in tears, which was crazy that Bakugo was crying. I was like, bro, Bakugo, man, he wanted to keep going on with Midoriya, believing he would be able to keep competing with him. All Might proceeds to cheer the boys up, calling them both his heroes. By June, the students return to UA as they finally put on their third-year graduation. Tamaki and Nejire receive their diplomas, and Lemillion gives a speech about how they must look to their future to bring back what they lost. They technically did at that point. The former Class 1A meets up in 2A with the Razorhead once again as their teacher. Ayama reveals that he will be leaving the class due to his role as All-For-One spy. Wanting to atone in his own way, Shinso is then revealed to be taking his spot in the class, which I wish that they let us have some more classes with Shinso being included. That would have been cool, man. But they're like, screw it. Later, Shoto meets up with the rest of his family to visit Toya, aka Dabi, locked up in a life support unit. Slowly on the verge of death, a crippled Endeavor reveals to Toya that he will be retiring as a hero. He could even be a hero if he wants to. Like, look at how he is now. And even if it may be too late, he will come to visit him every day to talk. Fuyumi and Rei both add how there's so much they want to still say to him, while Natsuo looks at him silently. Right as Toya reaches his limit for the day, Shoto asks him what is his favorite food. He responds soba, which Shoto agrees with. The family leaves and Toya begins to tear up, internally apologizing to Shoto. Natsu reaffirms he wants nothing more to do with Endeavor, while his father firmly states he will continue to take responsibility for the rest of his life, which Endeavor did say that I'm dancing in hell. So that was kind of crazy, I think. Alright, we got the last two episodes. The first one being The Girl Who Loves Smiles. As the new Public Hero Safety Commission President Hawks pardons Lady Nagano. However, she chooses to stay in prison for now to see how the world shapes out, which we gotta see what happens now in 431 to see what she's doing now. Gento is released and reunites with La Brava. Izuku visits Spinner in the hospital, learning the doctors were able to prevent him from turning into a Nomu. Izuku gives him Shigaraki's last words, causing him to break down and angrily berate the young boy for causing his friend's death. At the same time, a new broadcast discusses Shigaraki, with many civilians viewing him as just an irredeemable threat, while Spinner thinks about their friendship and what he wishes they could have done to help him. Spinner declares that he will write a book about the League of Villains so that nobody will forget Shigaraki, and Izuku determinedly reaffirms that he won't forget. Izuku then learns that Chisaki reunited with his grandfather, or the boss that took him in, awakened from his coma thanks to support items, chastising his adopted son for everything he's done. Back at school, Izuku and his classmates meet the exciting new first years, leading to mixed feelings from the students. Class A assists several heroes with reconstruction work in the city, while Bakugo reuniting with the slowly recovering Edsha. The new first years, moved by their conversation with Class A that morning, arrive to help. Later that night, Uraraka, who had been putting on a happy front the entire time, goes to Troy Cliffs overseeing the city, where she and Izuku had previously discussed Toga, and breaks down in tears blaming herself for Toga's death. Izuku appears, having noticed something off about her, and forces her to open up about her feelings. He reveals that she is his hero, ever since they first met during the entrance exam. All that she's done to support him, and wants to do the same for her, which she accepts. The rest of class soon joins after to cheer the both of them up. Later, Class A has their farewell party for Ayama with Eri singing. Meanwhile, a mysterious boy emerges from an abandoned home, which is then where we move on to the final episode, My Hero Academia. Still crazy, man. 2 months of peak content. A young boy who manifests as a dark and dangerous quirk is abused and later abandoned by his family. He eventually escapes from the destroyed house room, angered to find everyone around him happy while he had to suffer. Before he can lash out, however, he is stopped by an old woman who had previously refused to help a young Shigaraki, and inspired by Izuku's actions, offer her hand to help him, which he tearfully accepts. 8 years later, Izuku becomes a teacher at UA, once again quirkless after losing all of the embers of One for All by the time of their 3rd year graduation. He records his memories in his notebook, which is cool, man, that he became a teacher. I think that was the best way for him to be able to move on with his life by being quirkless. Like, you know, teaching the kids. Because he has knowledge about quirks and all that, so it makes sense. Which I think he teaches quirk history, if I could be mistaken. Let's see. So he records his memories in his notebook. He also thinks about how all his former classmates have become great heroes. In the junior high school, the students are discussing what kinds of programs they wish to study, with one kid Dai discouraged for wanting to be a hero despite having a weak quirk. Dai goes to visit the All Might statue in Kamio, where Izuku is also reminiscing. Dai trips when trying to help a tripping kid that Izuku helps. Dai voices his worries about being unable to be a hero, but Izuku reaffirms that he can be one, saying he already proved himself by trying to jump in to help. Which is crazy that what Izuku said was that once your dreams are reached, you pass them on to somebody else. Which, such a good advice, man. And tells him to do your best. Soon afterwards, Izuku is surprised by All Might, who reveals that using the data from his fight against All For One, Mei Hatsume with the funding by the former Class 1A and Bakugo spearheading the initiative, helping to create a new armor suit for Izuku to use to return to hero duty, which he tearfully accepts. Suiting up, he reunites with his former classmates, heading out together and seeing Shigaraki's ghost, continuing to move forward to help others. And, you know, it didn't even have to be a suit that had his former quirks. At the end of the day, Izuku said it himself. Like, you know, the fighting is what happens, but I want to be a hero to help people at the end of the day. So it was just like, you know, if the suit could do the bare minimum of hero work, that would have been fine by Izuku. I think he would have still got the same expression as well. But the fact that he got majority of his quirks back, bro, that was so clear at the end of the day. Again, they could milk this out, man. Horoshiki, I love what you did with this ending, making it to where like it's truly not over, that you could still have potential to come back to this if you want to. That's so good, man. Oh my god, I love this. It's kind of like, in a way, what Fairy Tail did when they finished off Zeref once and for all. However, they made it to where like they can make it more expansive and then make it to where, you know, Natsu and the others, they got some other type of adventures they could go on. With Naruto, for example, like now we have that whole thing with Boruto going on, even though, let's not kid ourselves, the Boruto manga is way better than the anime. Like, come on. Like, 100%. The anime, ugh. The manga, better. I know that for a fact, because they got no filler in that. And then Dragon Ball as well, with Goku and Super still being able to fight all the opponents. I love how these animes are like, you know, making it to where there always could be something more if they want to add more. And I think that's the best way to end most animes in general. I mean, if some has a story where literally like they gotta end it off with either a relationship being together or, you know, the fight, like the one super evil fight is like once they're done, the whole world is going back to being good, then I understand. But like something like what My Hero did, it's just like, it makes it to where it's just so good, man, that you could just have something keep going with that. But with that, if we're in today's video, hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to like and comment if you want to. You don't have to, but it's always greatly appreciated. Also subscribe. Again, you could comment down below your own reviews on the anime series as a whole, with the final season specifically. I still feel bad about not being able to do the other seasons. If you guys really want to see that, I gotta see the support in this video. This is the only time I'm asking you guys, because I don't know if that video will like overall interest a lot of people to just hear about my opinions about the other seasons, because a bunch of people already did it on Twitter and YouTube as well. But again, if you guys really want to see it, I'll do it for you guys. I'll put in the time and everything else. And with that, peace.